What is a fact about the human body that not many people know about? Most reflexes never make it to your brain. The sensory aspect travels to the spinal cord, and the spinal cord itself sends the muscle movement signals to your limbs. Humans are one of a few species of mammal that oddly don't produce their own vitamin C due to lack of a certain enzyme. Other mammalian species who exhibit this mutation are those contained in the main primate suborder Haplorhini, monkeys, apes, tarsiers, as well as bats, capybaras, and guinea pigs. All other mammals produce vitamin C in the liver. Apparently about 20% of people have a bony ridge on the roof of their mouth. Most people's palates are smooth with a very slight ridge. The 20%, like me, have an exaggerated and more pronounced ridge. Apparently it's most common in women and Asian folk, and I'm neither, so that's neat. I always thought it was totally normal. Your brain likes stimulation. If it doesn't get any, it will make some up. Some people are more susceptible to it than others. The colors you see before you fall asleep are a common mild occurrence. There are several classes of these hallucinations: closed-eye visuals, which are caused by leaving your eyes closed for a long time; hypnagogia, which is caused by the onset of sleep; prisoner's cinema, which is caused by looking into a dark place for a long time; Ganzfeld effect, which is caused by blocking out all external stimuli; and Charles Bonnet syndrome, caused by sight loss. Most of these are simple phosphenes, but some can be whole imagined scenes, or more abstract fractal-like imagery. People who live in extreme conditions for generations adapt in extreme ways. For example, people that live in high elevations often have larger lungs and different blood makeup. Or my favorite is the Biao people that live on the water and spend a lot of their time diving. Their spleens have become 50% larger in order to store more blood. Web link. When you get conditioned to physical activity, your circulatory system adapts: more blood, more vessels, more blood cells. But your lungs really don't. This is because no matter how much blood your heart is able to deliver to your lungs, the lungs still have no problem oxygenating it. This is why your oxygen saturation doesn't drop during exercise, unless you have a heart defect. Edit, thanks to the actual professional in the field, who I quote below. Elite endurance athletes can push themselves hard enough to the point of creating noticeable oxygen desaturation during bouts of maximal intensity exercise. This is largely due to three factors, the first being the massive venous blood return, the second being large cardiac chamber filling, and the third being high heart rates during this maximal intensity. These elite athletes are able to pump such large volumes of blood per beat that the deoxygenated blood isn't spending enough time in the lungs to become saturated to a typical 96 to 98%. Human eggs are small but big enough to be visible to the human eye. They are also the largest cell in the human body. The sperm is the smallest. There's a right and a wrong way to swallow, and the first swallow pattern you learn isn't the right one. Babies swallow by pushing their whole tongue forward, since it's better for nursing. However, as you transition to solid foods, you are supposed to change to a swallow where you put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth and roll the food back. Not everyone does, and those that don't are more likely to choke, eat too fast, develop dental problems, and some develop a lisp or distorted sounds as they learn to talk. Edit. After seeing many of the comments and other professionals bringing up good ethical points, I feel the need to add some extra info and disclaimers. 1. I did not intend to imply that anyone who feels they swallow wrong based on this information has to get an evaluation/therapy. I only wanted to share information I find fascinating and let those with concerns or fear know that you have the right to seek a professional if you so desire. If I did encourage you, or you felt I did, I only meant to encourage you to feel comfortable seeking out professional advice or assistance. 2. Any techniques or screeners mentioned are only that, and cannot identify a disorder. Only an evaluation with an appropriate professional can do that, and that professional can vary with a variety of factors. 3. If you do try to analyze your swallow, please don't actively try the incorrect swallow. It can potentially be unsafe to try any swallow you are not used to. Please be careful if you decide to disregard this warning. 4. I did not intend to imply that just because you have any of the aforementioned characteristics that you have the wrong swallow. I did not intend to imply that this type of incorrect swallow is the cause of whatever difficulties, scary moments, etc. you experience. 5. Thank you all for all the interesting stories, questions, comments, and feedback. I hope you enjoyed a little awareness about something most people never think about and found any correlations, but not necessarily causations, as interesting as I did. Okay, so I've been trying all the ways in the comments and I've discovered I can swallow with my tongue in any position, even poking out of my open mouth. And now I can't remember how I normally swallow. Help. One of the things that make humans unique from other animals is the fact that there is no actual bone in human boners. All other apes have them, although they are reduced in size and most other mammals do too, notable exception being rats. Edit, rats have them, rabbits don't. We don't know exactly why we are missing this bone called a baculum. The best theory I've seen is that without an actual bone, only relatively healthy male humans can copulate. Humans have, on average, just as many hairs on their body as chimpanzees. Human hair is just a lot shorter and finer. And mostly on my butt. In theory, humans could breathe a liquid if it was supersaturated with oxygen. It wouldn't be easy because the density of liquid being so much higher than air, so after 15 minutes or so you would be too fatigued to continue breathing. The hardest part is getting all the liquid out of the lungs so the person doesn't get pneumonia. There is such a liquid. It is called perfluorocarbon. It has proposed uses in diving, space travel, medical treatments and torture. Source. Web link. You can live normally with half your brain. In some severe drug-resistant epileptic syndrome in young kids, the only option to stop the seizures is to remove a complete brain hemisphere. After a while, with proper re-education and all, the children can go on to have a normal life without cognitive deficit. They will have a limping, blindness from one eye and a very weak arm, but can lead a normal life and not end up cognitively impaired. One of the earliest signs of Alzheimer's disease, before the memory loss, could be the loss of the sense of smell. It's also the case with Parkinson's disease. Our brain looks wrinkled because it is actually folded inside our skull in order to fit a maximum of surface and thus neurons and cell communications. Some animals like rodents have a completely smooth brain. 39% of people have an. 100 years ago only 11% of people had this bone. Web link. The hyoid bone is a bone not attached to any other bones in the human body and is only considered the anchor of the tongue. The surface area of the lungs is about the same size as a tennis court. You can grow a new human being faster than most missing toenails can grow back. Every minute you shed over 30,000 dead skin cells off your body. I'm eating lunch while I'm reading this. And wondering how many have fallen into my mac and cheese? Bon appetit. When doing surgery where the doctors have to take out some organs, when placing them back, they don't have to be put back in the exact position they're meant to be. Your body kind of just moves the organs into the correct position after the surgery. Yeah, I had a pelvic surgery recently and the surgeon casually mentioned, "Oh yeah, we moved your bowels around a bit, so that's what's causing the gas pains." Grimacing face. Medical procedures are always unsettling because the professionals are so used to it, so you get things like this where they are not worried but you're like, "What did you say?" Eyes. Swallowing has a cooldown. I tried doing it really fast and I started choke coughing, and now people in my office are asking me if I'm okay. If you faint at the sight of your own blood, you may have an oversensitive vasovagal response. The theory is that this developed as a survival mechanism, kind of like an opossum playing dead. Oh, I've just always diagnosed myself as a lady. Our brains make up, on average, around 2% of our body weight but consume 20% of our caloric intake. There are tiny cilia that spin in a certain direction. If they spin in the opposite direction while you're developing in the womb early on, That is how you get organs transposed onto the opposite side of your body. I remember we had a doctor visit our school during Careers Week who said he'd met 3 patients with flipped organs, and each time he called in a medical student and asked them to take the patient's heartbeat. Apparently it was really funny watching the student put the stethoscope on the left side, and seeing the color drain from their face. Synovial joint fluid is the most frictionless stuff on the planet, unless they've synthesized something up that recently, it's super lube. I know what I must do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Humans have stripes, we just normally can't see them. They're called Blaschko's lines and form along the paths of embryonic cell migration. The stripes are sort of U-shaped down our front, V-shaped on our back, wavy on the head and face, and we have basic, simple stripes on our extremities. Pregnant women have 50% extra blood. Oh my god, is that why they are often said to look radiant and stuff? Yep. The pregnant glow is more blood and oilier skin. You're glowing. Sounds much better than you're so oily and full of blood. Your stomach is surrounded by more brain cells, 500 million neurons, than the brain of a cat contains in total. It's your enteric nervous system. It controls digestion, operates autonomously, has its own memory, can handle its own reflexes, it has its own senses even. It's thought to have come about because of the blood-brain barrier and the main brain being locked away in the skull, a spinal column and nerves away from the critical action of nutrition. I had a friend in college that would always say this was why your stomach feels weird when you use hallucinogens. I always thought he was joking when he would say your stomach has a brain so your stomach trips too. The eyeball is the fastest healing part on your body. Edit, let me put it in a simpler version if you don't believe me. The eyeball has a cornea. Now, cutting the cornea will result in much pain, but since this part doesn't contain blood, but only gets a supply of oxygen, it is the only fastest healing part of your body that can heal in only 24 to 36 hours. Believe me now? Prove it. Your eyes have a separate immune system from the rest of your body, and in a lot of occasions if your body's immune system finds your eyes, they will assume they are a foreign body and blind you. WTF. When you cry and your nose becomes runny, it's actually your tears. Touch between your eyes, then push up with your tongue of roof of your mouth, you can barely feel a bone move. If you do this while your nose is stuffed, it will make it drain about a minute later. You hate the sound of your recorded voice because it's missing the low frequency you're used to hearing. When you talk, you hear your voice as it goes to the air and back to your ear. It also goes through your skull to your ear, and this bone conduction mechanism transmits the low frequencies better than air does. Your recorded voice only has the air transmitted sound. That causes the dissonance between what you think your voice sounds like, and what it really does. It's also why your voice will, almost, always be higher pitched than you think. The average adult has 22 square feet of skin. Perfect size for a nice rug. You actually need a few bodies for a nice rug because not every part of skin will come out nicely. Who even needs kidneys these days? I'm still waiting for my adult knees. It only takes about 15 pounds of force to rip off a human ear. Humans feel less satisfaction when they don't gain anything from an interaction. In other words, you get less dopamine, or whatever feel-good chemical, when you do something that basically has an equal cost and reward. This has led me to believe that free food does really taste better. It never made sense to me why cupcakes only tasted good when kids brought them in for their birthday. Whenever I'd buy them on my own they tasted worse. I guess it's because my brain knows I spent money on them. Your body will reduce your muscle strength to protect your spine. Stand on flat ground, hold your arms out in a T pose, and have a friend push down on your hand while you try to hold it in place. That's your control, how strong you actually are. Now, remove one shoe, or put a book under one foot, and repeat with your hips askew so your spine isn't straight. An inch is all it takes. Your strength will be reduced to the point that your friend can use a single finger to push your hand down. Your brain regulates how strong your muscles are. If your leg muscles were to contract at full strength, they would snap your femur. It's why people in emergencies on adrenaline can lift cars off children. Your body is capable of great strength, but it could also severely damage you, so your brain keeps you a weak, soft bag of jelly. Why's my brain giving me a beer gut instead of a six-pack though? You will sooner die of lack of sleep than lack of food. You can live, depending on your current body fat and health level, for months without food. Estimates are that you will die for lack of sleep within 2 weeks. X-rays of children's mouths are nightmare fuel. The second set of teeth to replace baby teeth are already grown and lodged in their skulls. So you'll see 2 rows of teeth and it's freaky looking. They don't grow in when the old ones fall out, they are already loaded in the chamber waiting to get launched. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.